Hello, my name is Mr. McCarthy, and I'm the leader of religious formation here at St. Bede's. The purpose of this presentation is to give you an overview of the course, what topics we cover, and to demonstrate why religious studies is such an important and fascinating subject that is academically rewarding and viewed favourably by many universities. Religion is central to world history, society, and human life. Religious Studies A-Level lets you study the various philosophies and beliefs that underlie popular religions and helps you understand the perspectives and motivations of believers. It is a fascinating and enlightening course. Not only will you develop a deeper knowledge and understanding of philosophy, ethics, and New Testament, but you will also gain many valuable transferable skills along the way. This course critically examines how religion, theology, and religious philosophy play an integral part in the thinking and day-to-day lives of a large proportion of the world's population. The study of religion can also give you a broader outlook on life and increase your skills in abstract thinking. It will develop your critical and evaluative skills through a rigorous study of religious, ethical, and philosophical issues and its application to the wider world. The Russell Group of top universities has made it clear that Religious Studies A-Level provides suitable preparation for university generally, and both Oxford and Cambridge University include religious studies at a top-level list of generally suitable arts A-Levels. As you can imagine, this course will grapple with many key issues, and if you enjoy debates, this subject is one for you. Some of the topics that pupils will study at A-Level religious studies include life after death, asking key questions such as, what happens to our bodies at death? Looking at arguments for the existence of God, asking key questions such as, does God exist? Looking at different ethical theories and asking the question, are we responsible for our actions? From a medical ethics point of view, looking at when does life begin? And finally, from a New Testament point of view, considering questions such as, what is the difference between the Jesus of history and the Christ of faith? One of the ethical theories that students will study in Year 12 includes situation ethics, an ethical theory developed by Joseph Fletcher during the late 1960s at a time of great change both in the UK and the USA. Numerous events in Europe and around the world was causing people's values to radically change, and different kinds of behaviour became more acceptable. The increasingly liberal values in society were at odds with conservative Christian views. Young people especially were beginning to question traditional sources of authority, such as the church, and go against their teaching. This was most obviously the case with issues surrounding sex and relationships. People began to feel they could decide for themselves the right way to behave, and did not need the strict rules of divine command ethics, which they saw as outdated. So, for example, women in the workforce. Following World War II, more women entered the workforce instead of being homemakers. They changed the family structure and dynamic. It also encouraged feminism and the view that men and women were equal. Kennedy's assassination. The shooting of President Kennedy caused huge shock, especially as he was a popular young president. This random act of violence made people feel unsafe and worry for the future of their country. And other things, including the sexual revolution, was a time when attitudes to sexual relationships and sexuality transformed. Casual sexual relationships became more socially acceptable, and sex was increasingly seen as an expression of individualism and freedom. It was at this time that Fletcher believed that people can take on certain mature and developed responsibilities. He believed that people were free moral agents. They could make a decision for themselves using reason, without the need of the church or organized religion. He based this belief on agape, a Greek word meaning a selfless, sacrificial love, where the person is at the heart of the decision. And this is just an example of an ethical theory that pupils will study during their time with us. Another topic that pupils will study in Year 12, but this time in philosophy of religion, is the problem of evil. The existence of evil and suffering in our world seems to pose a serious challenge to belief in the existence of a perfect God. If God were all-knowing, it seems that God would know about all the horrible things that happen in our world. If God were all-powerful, God would be able to do something about all the evil and suffering in the world. Furthermore, if God were morally perfect, then surely God would want to do something about it. And yet we find that our world is filled with countless instances of evil and suffering. These facts about evil and suffering seem to conflict with the orthodox theist's claim that there exists a perfectly good God. The challenge posed by this apparent conflict has come to be known as the problem of evil. And in this unit of study, pupils will explore different responses to the problem of evil, including the responses from St. Augustine and St. Irenaeus. This slide provides an overview of the units that pupils will study in years 12 and 13. There are three main areas of the religious studies course. The first section is philosophy of religion. The second is religion and ethics. And the third section is New Testament studies. This will be taught by two teachers in year 12 and again two teachers in year 13. For example, philosophy of religion, pupils will study 1.1 to 3.2 in years 12, and the same will also be true for religion and ethics and New Testament studies. One teacher will be teaching the philosophy of religion, the other will be teaching religion and ethics, and the third, New Testament studies, will be split by both teachers. And the same will be true for year 13 as well. So for 1.1 to 2.2, students will be looking at arguments for the existence of God in philosophy of religion. Then they will look at the problem of evil and solutions to evil and suffering. Religion and ethics, they will study environmental issues, equality, free ethical theories known as utilitarianism, situation ethics, and natural moral law. Then war and peace, followed by sexual ethics. And paper 3, again in year 12, students will be looking at prophecy regarding the Messiah, world in the first century, John's prologue, the I am sayings in John's Gospel, miracles and signs, the synoptic problem, and the purpose and authorship of the fourth Gospel. Units 4.1 to 6.3 across are units that students will study in year 13. We are a very popular subject, and the majority of students who choose this course choose to do the full A level over 2 years, although it can be done as an AS standalone subject. There is no coursework, and there are three main areas of study over the 2 years: philosophy of religion, religion and ethics, and New Testament studies. It is an essay-based subject, and at the end of year 13, there will be 3 exams. So what background do you need? Whilst the GCSE in the subject is desirable, it isn't essential. Religious studies is very accessible at A level, provided you have an understanding of the basics of major world religions and strong writing skills. In this light, a strong grade in an essay-based GCSE, for example at grade 6, is important. Alongside these skills, you need to have a keen interest in the subject, including a desire to broaden your knowledge and understanding of philosophy, ethics, and New Testament, and to develop your skills in critical thinking and analysis. If this sounds like you, A-level religious studies could prove to be a subject you will enjoy and do well in. It is a strong subject to have alongside, for example, maths and science subjects to demonstrate that you are a well-rounded person with an informed worldview. Since 2003 to the present day, numbers of A-level pupils choosing to study religious studies across the country has increased by 114% and is greater than any arts, humanity or social science subject. In fact, almost 21% of students admitted to Oxford University to study English and 13.5% admitted to study history in 2015 had an RS A-level, more than those of economics, physics and business studies. So where can it lead? A-level religious studies can provide you with excellent transferable skills, from essay writing, developing confidence in debating, to developing the ability to appreciate other viewpoints. These skills can be incredibly helpful in a range of university degrees involving critical thinking and discussion, for example in humanities, English and psychology. Our results for 2020 were fantastic. 75% of our pupils achieved A star to B. 100% of the cohort achieved A star to C. I now invite you to listen to the next two students in Year 13, Maia and Stan. They currently take religious studies, and they would like to share with you why they've chosen the course and why they enjoy it.
I chose RS because I really enjoyed it at GCSE, particularly the debates we had in class. I also felt very supported by the teachers, so I knew that the quality of teaching was really high and that they would help me achieve the best grade that I possibly could. One of my favourite topics so far has been the one on John's prologue in the New Testament. Before doing this topic, I only really thought about the New Testament as a collection of stories and accounts, but John's prologue is almost like a poem filled with symbols and different meanings. I enjoyed this because it felt quite similar to the analysis we do in English literature, which I'm also taking. I also like learning about situation ethics, which is basically a theory about how we should ignore strict religious laws and instead choose our actions based on how loving they are. I've learned a lot of skills from doing RS. It's really improved my critical evaluation because we often look at the strengths and weaknesses of certain ideas. And I do this in psychology as well, and I know that so many other A levels require you to evaluate things. So doing it frequently in practice questions has made me so much more confident in my ability to look at things from different perspectives, which is such an important skill, not just in your subjects, but in life as well. I really recommend RS. Again, the support from the teachers is amazing. They're always working so hard to make sure that we understand everything, putting up extra resources on Google Classroom, and they're so quick to respond to emails when I have questions about homework. And I've also never felt like I can't express my opinion in an RS class during a discussion, and it's really nice to be in an environment like that.
Okay, religious studies is really good for people who are interested in debate. It's got a lot more debate in than GCSE. It really isn't much like GCSE religion at all. It's far better in my opinion. The reason it makes a lot of debate is because it tries to answer big questions like where does morality come from? That's a really interesting debate. It looks at different scholars and their views on it. So I think it's really compatible with other social sciences like sociology because it looks at Marx and his interpretation of religion. It looks at Freud and his psychological interpretation of religion. It also looks at more real things like where did the Gospels come from? Did certain Gospel writers copy from each other? How did they get put together, and where did they originate from? I think if you like debates, and it is a language subject, so it's not a formula subject, which I'm sure you already know. I think you'll really enjoy the subject, and just give it a try.
The study of religion is one of the oldest academic disciplines, and the A-level builds on this tradition by offering a systematic study of religious belief, whilst relating this to current themes and issues. This subject gives you a stimulating mixture of philosophy, ethics, and New Testament. The importance of religious belief is being questioned today like never before, and you will develop the skills to look at the issues in a sophisticated and critical way. Many of the arguments and views have emerged within the Judeo-Christian tradition, and studying the New Testament will enrich and give context to these debates. Wherever you stand, there is much to be learned and admired from the complexity which theists, agnostics, and atheists have addressed the sorts of questions that fascinate everyone. I hope you find this presentation informative and look forward to welcoming you to St. Bede's next September. Please do feel free to email me if you have any further questions.